I would like to think that maybe I'm represent a hope for them, even though I cannot offer them any material assistance, very little material assistance. At the same time, I would have to admit that they too, for me, are a hope, in spite of their adversity. In the past, the missionary went to convert people to the church. Now we realize that God is present in all places, in all cultures. And we try to bring the people to awareness of His presence in their lives. You just can't come to a foreign country with your own culture and think that you have all the answers. You get depressed at times. There's more people arriving every day. It's a disaster area. I do not know how the people survive. I really don't know. And there's no way out of this. There's no way out.
In Brazil, millions of people trek from the interior to the coastal cities in search of a dream. But instead of finding work and decent homes, they end up in favelas, the shanty towns which pour down every hillside.
It's not simply a question of doing things for the people or converting them to a certain belief. We try to work always with the people, so that the church takes on the culture of the people. It's not just a Western imported church. It's something that has to spring from them. When I arrived in Brazil, the population was 70 million. Today, it is 140 million. In 20 years, the population has doubled. And one of the miracles in Brazil that the people are able to put up with the total lack of sanitation. It doesn't exist. The lavatories are outside. What looks like an open stream is in fact an open sewer. Everything goes into that open stream. Everything. Dirty water, lavatory, washing water, people use it for everything. And that, at times, when it rains heavy, that fills up and goes into the people's houses, bringing more dirt and disease and death. They all have worms. Everybody has worms, the adults and the children. You notice in the children with the big stomachs, extended stomachs. But you can't do anything about it.
Tomou banho de colégio?
Tomei.
Foi limpinho pro seu cabelo?
Tirei.
Gosta?
Vai.
E a Amanda? Tudo bem, pode entrar.
This is a fairly typical favela here in Caxias. There are many others like it, but this is typical of what exists all around us. Tanya, she's 22. She got married when she was 13. She has now 4 children, 1 more adopted. She wanted to be sterilized, but the doctor refused because he said she was too young.
Quando compra móvel, aí já não pode. O dia que paga a prestação, não pode fazer a compra.
Her husband, he works as a shop assistant, and she washes clothes every day for other people. She goes to their houses, washes clothes, or maybe brings their clothes here to be washed. She's no water in the house. She has to get water from a tap about a quarter of a mile away. At times we try to organise the washerwomen to ask for more money, but it's very hard people to be organised. Everybody's just earning enough from day to day. They cannot think further than from day to day.
Has the church been seen in the past, do you think, as a member of the ruling establishment in these parts? And that's probably part of the problem that you come up against.
John, it wasn't just simply seen as part of the ruling establishment. It really was part of the ruling establishment. It defended the interests, let's say, of big landowners. Always defended the interests of capital. Never saw society from the point of view of the poor. It always was very strong in law and order.
One of the biggest industries in Caxias is scavenging on a rubbish tip for garbage which can be recycled.
It employs hundreds of people, people who spend their lives at this type of work. Their lives are short, 10 years, and they're at this type of work, and they get sick and they die.
This rubbish all comes in from Rio?
This all comes from Rio, thrown out from the apartments, hotels from Rio. And worse still, it comes from hospital waste material. Used needles, bandages comes from here also. Every imaginable disease. The people when they begin to work here, the most they can last for 10 years. After that, they get sick and die if they continue at it. The people when they leave here at night, it's no good washing themselves. They have to wash themselves in alcohol, take the smell out of their bodies. They are separating bottles, plastic, perishable goods, organic, inorganic material. It's separating one from the other. And it will all be put in big sacks and sold. Each day they get so much for whatever they produce, whatever they're able to collect. That's how they get paid. It's weighed at the end of the day.
Life on the tip symbolizes the jagged edge of the political and economic disaster which characterizes modern-day Brazil. In Brazil, the divide between those who have and those who have nothing is stark and growing wider. 5% of the people own 85% of the land. Do you think that this canyon that exists between the rich and the poor, the privileged and the dispossessed, can ever be bridged?
It's an act of faith you have to make, John. You have to believe it is possible, that humanity, that humanity is capable of bridging this gap, of making something better. As a Christian, I believe.
This is, after all, a man-made disaster, isn't it?
Man-made. We're responsible. Humanity is responsible for this.
Sunday, 16 baptisms. It's about average. On one Sunday, Bernard had more than 70. Would you know these babies again?
Again, it's difficult, John. All the babies look the same to me.
What's this little girl called?
Gianni. Qual è il nome della? Cristiana. Cristiano, e ti baptizo in nome del Pai, del Figlio e dello Spirito Santo. Amen.
In its defense of the underprivileged, the church is embroiled in politics. Like other priests in South America, Bernard Colgan subscribes to liberation theology.
Liberation theology basically is trying to see society